Okay, I figured out what Steve was doing, okay, in this video. So this is garbage in means garbage out, which is true, right? But really, the bigger issue is that people cannot be trusted to do their own product reviews, right? That's why you usually have a lab, a third party, somebody else. That's why reviews count on Amazon, right? If 20 people out of 25 people say this is a shit product, you're probably going to believe that it's a shit product, okay? So Steve, in my opinion, cannot be trusted. Either can Tony, because I don't think Steve is smart enough to come up with the test that they came up with, okay? So in the beginning of the video, Steve talks about how he's like, I'm not going to tell you which one to buy. And then, of course, at the end, he offers his solution, right? Which is, dude, just fucking commit to the scam, okay? Just commit to the scam and say, mine's the best because that's the lifestyle that you live, right? Sound-based style. It's 24/7. It's fucking goofy. So, and don't trust me either, okay? Do your own research. But what's great about my video is how many haters I get, which is great. I don't mind the hate. I'm fine with that. Steve minds the hate. He'll ban you. Because he's like, if anybody disagrees with me, you're wrong. And they're not. So, but that's what's great about my videos and about what I'm doing. I'm really challenging Steve's integrity. That's what this is about. This isn't about some stupid LOC because lots and lots of people, thousands, perhaps even billions of people have used an LOC. Maybe not billions, millions, definitely. Millions of people have used cheap LOCs that you buy from Legacy, Pyramid Group, Boss, and they work fine. Okay, so I figured out what he was doing. And here's the thing. So what he does is he turns up the head unit to just before clipping, right? That's pretty high. And it depends on how strong that head unit is, okay? And then what he does is he tests the cheaper LOCs and he says they're garbage. And whatever, the DD1 notices distortion or whatever clipping. Yeah, fine. So that's not how you use the LOC, okay? Especially a cheaper one. It can't take that kind of power, okay? So what Steve's doing is basically saying, okay, let's use Tony's amp. So Tony made that 15,000 watt Rockford amp, which, you know, he disconnects the power and it keeps basing and all that kind of stuff. And that's because it has super caps on the rails. So it's a trick, right? Okay. So Tony came up with this trick. This is my theory, okay? Because again, Steve is not smart enough to come up with this. So, but Tony came up with the trick, gave it to Steve, and then Steve performed it pretty good, okay? The problem with scamming people is that you're not going to get away with it. So there's a guy named Gary Springay who runs a test lab over in East Mesa, and lots of people use him to test amps and all kinds of other stuff. You can't even trust him. He did a review years ago on the difference between CCA and OFC, and it was a bullshit test. It's a rigged test. It's rigged to make aluminum wire look bad when aluminum wire works fine. Again, you have to look at where the money goes, okay? Remember how we talked about when car audio magazines, any review that you saw in there, did the company actually pay for the review? No. But they did buy $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 in advertising. So for $30,000 in advertising, you better fucking get a good positive review, okay? You see how that works? And so that's what Steve and Tony are doing. They're playing tennis back and forth with you guys and your attention. Tony cannot be trusted to do a review on his own stuff. What do you know? His stuff always comes out on top. I wonder why. So, and the problem with scammers like this is it's basically a Ponzi scam where they fool enough people that it looks good, and if they get away with it, then they get away with it, okay? But typically, it always fails, or I should say typically it fails. It's just a matter of time for somebody like me to go, hey, this thing's wrong, and I say something. And what's funny is then, you know, Steve points the hate at me as if I'm hating or if somehow I'm jealous of his lifestyle, which is completely untrue and is, I find, very entertaining and hilarious. So, but let's go with that. So basically what he does is he turns up the head unit to overwhelm, to saturate the cheaper LOCs. And the cheaper LOCs are made with lower voltage, lower, I don't want to say quality because they're all the same quality, parts. Okay, they're just not made for that kind of power. That's it. All the LOCs that he tests are good. They're good LOCs. They're good products. You just can't use them at that power level, at that power input. And typically, like I've talked about, you got to look at the input impedance and what the output is of the amplifier and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so but anyways, so he overwhelms the LOC, and of course, what gets me though is I think Tony coached Steve on how to do this test, and so now you got to think about that. Okay, so Tony and him are working together in order to make their LOC look like the savior, that you have to have this product. And what the problem that I have with Steve is here is that he makes it, and he sort of, like he's crowned the victor, and he's like, well, and then tries to be humble, like, well, SMD, you get what you pay for. You want the best, you got to, and he goes into that. That is just, I find, gross and disgusting, especially when you know that the test is rigged. Do you see what I'm saying? It's sort of like when somebody in athletics uses steroids and then they win, and the other guys didn't. Like, really, are you the real winner? So, but the basically what they're doing here with Steve. So let's go back to Tony's amp. So Tony made that big 4-channel amp. It's 15,000 watts. It's 15,000 watts of pure, clean, solid, distortion-free, very low distortion power. Okay. So say you use that amp on a Boss subwoofer that is only good for 200 watts. So is the subwoofer junk? No. The subwoofer is fine, but it's only good for 200 watts. You see what I'm saying? Because what his argument is that, well, it's clean power. It's clean power. This thing just, it sucks. This thing sucks. And it doesn't. Boss doesn't even make their own fucking woofers. Somebody else makes them for them. Same with Rockford, same with everybody else. Somebody else makes their woofers. So to trash a product like that purposely and to rig the test, it's all bullshit. It's gross and it's disgusting, and I'm here to call it out. I'm not saying to go buy my LOC or even buy recoils. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is do your research, okay, and use the other people's products. I used to buy the Legacy brand LOCs or the Pyramid ones if I could find them. I like those. They're great because they're very affordable and they do the same job as Scosche or some other, like even a Kicker branded one. Again, Kicker doesn't make that. They just buy it from somebody else off the shelf. So, and I know this because I've been talking to the guys at Recoil who are owned by Edge, and Edge makes for lots and lots of brands. One of them is SMD, right? Because I was there at the warehouse unloading his fucking stuff that was going to Amazon. His, I think it was the fuse blocks or whatever. So when Steve says that, he'll say, the way he phrases it is like, these fuse blocks are made in America. He's talking about those exact fuse blocks. Now, when you go on Amazon, it's not those fuse blocks. Those fuse blocks are made in China. You see what I'm saying? But he's willing to accept that you, how do I say it? You think that the ones on Amazon were made in America, and he'll let you think that. Do you see what I'm saying? And I think that's wrong. And I think that's a compromise of integrity. But that, again, that's my threshold of integrity, and that's my opinion. That's it. Okay? I'm asking you to look further into the bullshit that Steve is spewing and Tony is spewing. That's all. Okay? So now, I do have people that are rooting for me because they don't want to be in the crosshairs of Stevis and Tony Baloney, but I'm fine with it because I don't give a shit. I don't care if I lose subscribers over it because that's not the issue. The issue is that these guys cannot be trusted to review their own equipment. And what's worse is somebody outside that's reputable or says they're reputable, like Gary Springay over at the Test Pling, can be bought as well or can come up with a test that favors something. Do you see what I'm saying? So the best thing you can do is buy the product off Amazon, try it for yourself, and if you don't like it, send it back. So now, I'm not telling you to commit fraud or anything like that, but you guys, sounds like you guys do a lot of damage to Stevis on Amazon, which I'll say that I feel bad for Steve, because that's not right. And you guys are not right scamming Steve like that. Steve is the one that's supposed to be the scammer, not you. Okay? So, now that I've said that, all Steve would have had to do in this test is turn down the volume to an acceptable level that does not saturate the cheaper LOCs. That's it. That's all he would have had to do, and he would have read a clean signal. That's it. But does he do that? No, he doesn't. Then he comes out with a second video and repeats the process, and then he opens in front of you like I'm not sneaking anything. So, and then what was funny was the point that I made was that LOCs, then it was the LOCs that he was testing. The other ones that he was trashing are passive. And so Tony argues, he goes, no, our LOC is active, as if somehow that's better. It's not. It's just different. That's all. So the only thing that you would want to do about an active LOC like that is it still uses passive components to accept a signal, but then it has a line driver capability. And then you can also do other stuff to it. You can tweak it, you can put an EQ in it. And that's what I was showing you on the WaveTech stuff, where the WaveTech LOC had a built-in one-band EQ that you could vary and crossover and stuff like that. That's the only benefit for going active. That's it. So other than that, it's a $2 LOC with an active line driver, which again, I think is dumb, but those products are available because people want a strong signal. It's like, well, why don't you just use the original signal? So, but anyways, I will open them up to show you that there's no difference in all of these products. Again, it was like somebody the other day, like, oh, that's right. Somebody was a gunsmith, and they were telling me about that. Gunsmiths know for sure, right? So what's the difference between one gun and another? Nothing. Price and cosmetics. That's it. They go, well, there's reliability. Well, yeah, sure. But you're talking about a precision mechanism that's manufactured. Does it do the same pew, pew, pew? Yeah, it does the same pew, pew, pew. That's it. There's no real difference. So when you tell me that one gun is better than another gun, I know you're full of shit and you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. So when you tell me one LOC is better than the others, I'm like, I know you're full of shit. I know you don't know what you're talking about. And so I just want to clear this up. I do not want to talk about LOCs anymore. I try to avoid them if possible. But, again, the original video, the rebuttal that I made to this video is not about the LOC. It's about credibility. And what's funny is, just like a cop that abuses his authority, this video undermines Steve's authority and trustworthiness. So it ends up kicking him in the ass, but he makes a good buck while he can. And then, of course, he can always delete this video or whatever if it's bad press. So he's all about the good press. He only focuses on the good press. He doesn't talk about the bad press, right? Like I said, if you bring negativity, right? If you bring bad press to his channel or his forums or Facebook, he'll block you. He only wants the positive, right? He only wants nut huggers. So, and that's the kind of insecurity that Steve has displayed. So if you're really proud of your products, then let several people show you different tests. But again, who's going to pay for that? You see what I'm saying? Who's going to pay for that? Again, gunsmiths, brands of sugar, even brands of enclosures, right? The people still complain to me about, I can't believe you trashed blah, 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 blah. I was bringing notice to these guys. Otherwise, nobody's going to say anything. Okay? And you don't have to trust my credibility, even though I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Okay? But I don't want you to trust me. I want you to do your own research and your own reading so that you understand how deep the corruption goes and how deep this scamming goes. This is worth millions of dollars. And these guys are basically petty criminals. Basically. So, in my opinion. But as far as capitalism goes, because people are like, well, he's been doing, people sort of let him off the hook because they're like, well, everybody does this. And I'm like, well, that's the thing is, not everybody has to do this. So, but this is the kind of pandering that Steve does. And you can look at all his videos, right? All of his videos are like that. It's very, like, why are you in the video, Steve? Why do you even need to be in the video? So at least Tony keeps out of the videos, and it's about the work. But then Tony did that video the other day about the clipping styles of AB versus D versus GH. And it's a rigged test. How about you just play it for sound? How about you look at the THD? How about you look at the frequency response? How about things like that? That's the real test that people want to see. Not some, how does this clip, and what do you know? Tony's Class AB amp sings, and everybody else is, not as elegant, something stupid like that. Anyways, I hope this is the last video that I do about these stupid LOCs. But I just saw something, and I felt like I had to respond, because otherwise, again, it's a Ponzi scheme, and I'm just pulling his pants down to show him you're lying, the test is rigged. And then on top of that, you can't be trusted anyway. Nobody can be trusted to do their own review. Don't even trust me. Do your own reviews, okay? I love you guys. Talk to you later.